My name is Harry Worth.
Would you like another cup of tea, George?
Oh, that'd be very nice, Edith, thank you.
I'll make a fresh pot. Mr. Worth will be back in a minute.
Oh, well, in that case, I won't bother.
George, what is it you don't like about Mr. Worth?
Well, it's not that I dislike him, it's just that, well, he doesn't talk sense.
You're prejudiced.
Edith, I am not prejudiced. I'm a policeman. How could I be prejudiced?
Talking about being prejudiced, I had a phone call from your daughter today.
Well, go on then. What did she say?
She's coming to visit me tomorrow.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Eh? That's charming, that is. She takes the trouble to come and see you. But since she moved into that flat of hers, she never comes to see me, does she?
That's because she doesn't like you at the moment.
Well, I'm her father.
That's why she doesn't like you. George, Sandra's a lovely girl and you should be proud of her. Just try to be a little more patient and understanding. 17's a very difficult age.
17? Acts more like a kid of 7.
And don't be so intolerant.
Edith, I can't stand people who say I'm intolerant.
I'm home.
I'm going.
Hello, George.
Goodbye, Harry.
Nice man, your brother. Wonderful sense of humour. I'm glad we get along so well.
Would you like a cup of tea, Mr. Worth?
No, if you don't mind, Mrs. Maybury, I would prefer a cup of cocoa.
Why are you limping?
Well, you know, the first thing a salesman must do, he must learn to get his foot in the door.
Yes?
Well, I got my foot in the door this morning. Couldn't get it out again. Not to worry, Mrs. Maybury. A cup of cocoa will do me the world of good.
Do you like a drop of liniment?
No, I prefer the cocoa.
Good gracious. Mr. Worth.
Yes?
I've arranged for my little niece to come over tomorrow afternoon and stay the night. And I've just remembered I shan't get back from the Women's Institute till 7.
Well, not to worry, Mrs. Maybury. I can arrange to be here, if that will help you out.
Won't you be out working? Selling brushes?
Well, I'll be out working, but I won't be selling, so I may as well be here not selling and not working. Do I make myself clear?
Perfectly.
Yeah. What's the name of your niece?
Sandra. She's a delightful child.
Ah, good. How old is she?
Well, according to her father, she's 7.
Well, her father should know, Mrs. Maybury. The milk, Mrs. Maybury.
Oh, thank you.
She's quite young, then.
Well, in some ways she is, and in other ways she's quite mature. She's very good company.
Ah, not to worry, Mrs. Maybury. I can manage.
Well, it'll only be for the afternoon. I'll be back in the evening.
Well, if you are back late, do you want me to put her to bed?
I think you'll find she's quite grown up, Mr. Worth.
Of course. I keep forgetting they grow up so quickly these days, don't they? Is this my tea?
You asked for cocoa.
Yeah, so I did. What is this?
Coffee.
Well, yes. She's a delightful and charming woman. She's got some funny ways.
Can I help you?
Oh, how do you do? I was thinking of buying this for a 7-year-old child. Do you think it's suitable?
Well, is it a boy or a girl?
I don't really know. I think it's a boy.
You think it's a boy? Well, what's his name?
Well, it's affectionately known as Teddy, which I presume is short for Edward. But does it really matter?
Well, no, not really. Not at that age. Well, is there anything else you'd like for Edward?
Edward?
Yes, Edward. Your 7-year-old child.
Oh, no. The child is not called Edward.
It isn't?
No, it's Sandra.
Sandra. That's a very unusual name for a boy.
It certainly is, but nothing surprises me these days.
Look, sir, do you want to buy this teddy bear or not?
The teddy bear, yeah. How much is it?
£4.
See, I'm not quite sure she wants a teddy bear, really. Who knows what goes on in a child's mind? What are little girls made of?
Sugar and spice and all things nice.
My word, you are well read. You see, I've got her some sweeties, and later on I'm going to take her to see the Sooty's 5 o'clock show. Do you think she'll like Sooty's 5 o'clock show?
Yes, I'm sure she will. But you might find it hard to follow. Do you or do you not want to buy this bear?
Yes, I think I'll take it.
You're sure? And I'd hate to rush you.
How true, because you don't want me coming back to change it.
I just don't want you coming back.
Well, have no fear, because once I make up my mind, I make up my mind.
Good.
But I haven't made up my mind yet. See, I might be a little short of ready money.
What was that?
Well, I'm a little short of the ready for Teddy. How would it be if I gave you £1 now?
Yes.
And gave you the rest in assorted brushes? How does that strike you? I can tell by your face it strikes you, but not very pleasantly. So I'll pay you right now.
Thank you very much, sir.
There you are.
Well.
By the way, have you got a little Sooty?
Boy or girl?
Really, I have no idea.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, don't be like that. Well, there we are, Sooty. Fairy cakes, jelly, ice cream. And here's a little list of questions to ask little Sandra. What's that? Someone at the door? Good. Would you excuse me?
Hello.
Hello?
Is Mrs. Mabry in?
No, I'm afraid she's out.
You must be Mr. Worth, her lodger.
You're quite right. Is Mrs. Mabry expecting you?
Oh, yes.
Well, please, do come in. I'm afraid she won't be back until about 7 o'clock.
Oh, don't worry about me, Mr. Worth. I can amuse myself.
Good. Come through into the kitchen, will you? You see, I'm expecting a little girl for tea.
Oh, that does look lovely. Some little girl's going to have a super afternoon.
Thank you, I do hope so.
Did you prepare all this by yourself?
Yes, it's jelly, ice cream, fairy cakes, crisps, all that sort. I hope little Sandra enjoys this sort of thing.
Sandra?
That's Mrs. Mabry's little niece. I'm looking after her this afternoon, you see.
Oh, Mr. Worth?
And I bought her this teddy, and I've got sweeties, and later on, I'm taking her to see the Sooty 5 o'clock show.
Sooty?
Yes, you know Sooty, don't you? Harry Corbett, Sweep. This is Sooty. Hello, Sooty. What do you want? A spoon? What are you going to do with the spoon? Oh, dear. Why did you do that, Sooty? You remember Sooty?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Now, you will excuse me, because I must get on and get finished, because little Sandra is likely to come toddling in, and I want to finish, you see, and I want to play a few games with her before we have tea. You do understand, I hope.
Oh, yes, I understand, but...
Mind you, if she doesn't like games, I've got a few conjuring tricks tucked up my sleeves. I'll show you this one. I'm going to do this like this. Not like that. Like that. Very clever man, that David Nixon.
Tommy Cooper?
Yes, he's clever as well. Now, let me see, I've got everything. Fairy cakes, ice cream, jelly.
Mr. Worth, I must say something.
Yeah, dear, I apologise to you. You've been here so long, I still don't know your name.
Sandra.
There's a coincidence, because Mrs. Mabry's niece is... Mrs. Mabry's little niece is called...
Sandra.
And you are...
Mrs. Mabry's little niece.
My word. You're a big girl for a little girl who's only 7.
17.
I'm sorry. Do sit down, Sandra. Jelly, fairy cakes, ice cream, crisps, and what on earth am I going to do with little Teddy?
Well, as you bought it for me, can I have him?
Would you really like him?
Yes, please.
Then you can have him. I'm glad he's going to a good home. Now, about this time, I was going to ask you if you'd like to play games such as, what time is it, Mr. Wolf?
Why don't we just talk to each other?
Well, as a matter of fact, I prepared a list of questions to ask you, but I'm not quite sure they are appropriate.
Ask them anyway.
All right, then. Question 1, little girl, when is your 8th birthday?
9 years ago.
Question 2, can the little girl read or write?
Yes, I'm a shorthand typist.
Uh-huh. And question 3, oh, please, don't be embarrassed, will you? Are you potty trained?
Since I was 2.
Ah, well, there's a clever girl. And then I was going to ask you, would you believe it, if you like Sooty? Because I booked tickets for the Sooty show.
Are they paid for yet?
Yes?
Well, in that case, I'd very much like to go.
Oh, well, that's absolutely marvellous. And I'll tell you what we'll do later on. We'll go somewhere of your choice. Now, where would you like to go? Anywhere special?
Yes, the Freak Out discotheque. It's got a great group. It's really raving. But maybe it's not your scene.
No, I'm sure it is. Now, would little Sandra like her tea?
Ooh, goody gumdrops.
No, jelly or ice cream?
Jelly, please.
Jelly. Good, I'm glad you chose jelly, because it's lovely and fresh. And I say, wasn't it funny when Sooty got Sweet on the nose? And it was even funnier when Sweet got his own back. And I thought it was absolutely marvellous when Harry Corbett, he got that pie right in the face.
The music's finished.
Pardon?
The music's finished.
What was that? I say the music's finished, I feel a fool. Let's sit down.
Harry, try not to draw attention to yourself. There's some very rough types looking for a fight.
Now, not to worry, Sandra, I will take care of you.
Hello, sweetheart.
You see, they're not rough. How are you, sweetheart?
Do you call me sweetheart?
Well, you call me sweetheart, sweetheart.
Be quiet, Harry.
Yeah, belt up, Harry, or I'll stick one on you.
Here we go.
Okay, sweetheart, then you're dancing with me.
No, I'd rather dance with Sandra.
Oh, come on.
No, thank you.
I'm not asking, I'm telling.
Hey, look here, come here, I want a word with you. Are you one of those rough types that's looking for a fight?
And what if I am?
Right, join the army.
You right.
Very fortunate you turned up when you did, Constable. Things could have got very nasty. How'd you do?
We weren't just passing. The management sent for us. They're regular customers of ours.
I suppose you're used to dealing with rough types.
I should say. But take this young lady into interview room A. See if she gets a cup of tea.
Yeah, she also likes jelly and ice cream.
What happened? More trouble at the disco? Yeah.
Shocking, isn't it?
Two louts fighting over that young girl.
No, only one.
One got away. If we got the one who started it, he's all yours.
Come with me, sir. I'm afraid an official charge will have to be made. Sit down, sir.
Look, I'm a little worried about the charge you're going to make because I haven't got a great deal on me. Well, to be frank, 50p.
You trying to bribe me with a measly 50p?
Bribe you certainly not. Just trying to find out what you want.
I can now tell you what the official charge will be. Behaving in a manner likely to cause a breach of the peace.
Ah, I see you know who he is, do you?
Do I know who is, sir?
Well, this man who caused the breach of the peace.
Now listen, my sergeant will be down in 10 minutes to interview you. Until then, just stop talking.
Is this what the BBC call helping the police with their inquiries?
Gotta be joking, mate.
Right, Constable, what's going on then?
Oh, a couple of villains had a barney up the disco over a young girl. One of them got away.
Oh, how old's the girl?
16, 17.
Yeah, so they'd better talk to her first. Shocking, isn't it? Negligent parents letting their kids out till all hours. What they need is a bit of parental control. I'd like to get my hands on her father.
Hello, Dad.
Dad? Sandra? Sandra?
What happened then?
I just went to the disco. Not alone, with a friend. And an awful rough, violent type started a fight.
Don't you worry. I'll throw the book at him.
Good. But do you think you'll be able to catch him?
Oh, we've got him.
I thought he got away.
No, we've got him now. You just sit down there and don't you worry. Bert, get that poor little girl a nice cup of tea. Yeah, wait till I meet this maniac.
Good heavens, George!
George? Harry!
Harry? Well, thank goodness I suppose you heard about the disturbance at the discotheque involving your daughter with a rough type.
Yes, I heard. Is this the man?
No, he's a policeman.
Are you sure this is him?
Definitely, Sarge.
All right then. I suppose we better have your side of the story.
All I want to say...
Now, just a minute. Constable, get this down. Right. Now, nice and slowly. You were saying, all I want to say is...
All I want to say is, I don't want to say anything.
You don't want to say anything?
Not until I have talked to my solicitor.
Who is your solicitor?
I haven't got one. Could you recommend one?
No.
In that case, I shall defend myself.
This I've got to see. Come on.
How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Yes.
You mean yes guilty or yes not guilty?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not quite sure.
Well, did you or did you not cause a breach of the peace?
On the one hand, yes.
Enter a plea of guilty.
On the other hand, no.
Enter a plea of not guilty.
Good. And I thank you for a very fair hearing.
The plea is not guilty.
Defendant may be seated. Please proceed, Sergeant.
Sir? Sir, I am prosecuting on behalf of the police, sir. The case against the defendant is that last night at the freak-out discotheque, he started an affray and caused a breach of the peace when he was arrested. I should like to call Sandra Bailey as a witness.
Sandra Bailey. Please read the words on the card.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Sandra Bailey?
Quite right, George.
Silence.
You are Sandra Bailey?
Yes, you know I am.
Just answer the question. Now, will you tell us what happened last night at the discotheque?
I was at the freak-out discotheque with a friend. A man grabbed me and tried to make me dance with him. My friend stood up for me and the man hit him. Then the police arrived.
Right, now, will you look round the court and tell us if you can see the man here who started the trouble?
No, I can't.
I beg your pardon?
She said, no, I can't.
Silence.
He's not here.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Will the accused please stand up?
Yes, come along. Will the accused please?
You stand up.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Perhaps you can see him now.
I can only see Mr. Worth.
That's right.
It's not him.
You mean it wasn't Mr. Worth who attacked you?
Of course not. He's my friend. He defended me.
Sandra, why are you changing your story?
I'm not.
No, she's not changing her story.
Silence, please.
Well, could I ask a question?
You may speak in your own defense in due course.
That he is conducting his own defense. He can cross-examine the witness.
Ah. You may cross-examine the witness.
You are... Sit down, George. You are Miss Sandra Bailey.
I am.
Good, I've got it right. I'll never forget a face, but names I can never remember.
Get on with it.
And you are not 7 years old.
No.
Oh, I'm glad we got that sorted out. Mrs. Maybury led me to believe you were, you see.
Who is Mrs. Maybury?
I am.
Ah, hello, Mrs. Maybury. I didn't see you sitting there.
Hello, Mr. Worth.
Silence!
Well, shh. What do you mean, shh?
He asked for silence. That man there making all the noise.
No, not you, Mr. Worth, but no one else can speak at the moment.
Ah. What about the judge? Can he speak?
Yes, of course, he can speak.
Miss Sandra Bailey, can she speak?
Well, she can, if you ask her a question.
It would appear to me that everyone in the court can speak with the exception of poor Mrs. Maybury. Is this British justice?
Get on with it. Ask
Yes.
Miss Bailey some questions.
Yes, Your Highness.
I'm not royalty, Mr. Worth. I'm just a magistrate.
Yes, Your Magistrate. Now, I would like to deal with the events leading up to the disturbance that took place at the discotheque. Did we not have jelly and ice cream and later went to see the sooty 5 o'clock show? And did we not leave the teddy bear behind?
Yes.
And did not Sooty hit Sweep on the head with a hammer?
Yes.
Why are you asking her that?
You told me to ask her some questions.
Mr. Worth, this case concerns what happened last night at an establishment known as the Freak Out.
Yes, that's quite... Oh, I beg your pardon, you're right. You know when we were at the freak out, Do you remember a man, he came running over to you, a rough man who wanted to make you dance?
Yes, then you told him to leave me alone, and then he hit you.
So she's changing her story. For some reason now she's protecting the accused.
I'm not. It's not my fault if you arrested the wrong man, Dad.
Don't call him Dad, Miss Bailey. Have some respect for an officer of the law.
But he is my dad.
Sergeant Bailey, is this true?
Sir, yes, I didn't explain, sir, but actually, Miss Bailey is my daughter, sir.
But, Sergeant, if you're related to this young lady, why are you prosecuting?
Oh, well, I had no choice, sir. The Chief Inspector's ill.
But if Miss Bailey's your daughter, you must be prejudiced.
Sir, I am not prejudiced, sir.
Oh, you are, George.
Madam.
Sir, could I throw some light on this?
I doubt it, but you can try.
Well, would you call Mrs. Maybury?
You don't need to call me, I'm here.
Silence in court! Mr. Worth, you cannot call a witness now. We're still hearing the case for the prosecution.
Nonsense. The case for the prosecution appears to have collapsed. Now let's get to the bottom of this. Stand down, Miss Bailey. Call Mrs. Maybury.
Mrs. Maybury.
Coming.
Now for the truth.
Please read the words on the card.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mrs. Maybury,
Yes.
you are Mrs. Maybury.
Yes.
You are Sandra Bailey's aunt.
Yes.
You are Sergeant Bailey's sister.
Yes.
You are...
Mrs. Maybury, you appear to be related to every person in this court.
Well, not to me she isn't. She's my landlady.
Your landlady?
Yes.
Yes.
Carry on, Mr. Worth.
Now, Mrs. Maybury, I want to ask you a question. I want you to be very careful and think before you answer. Did you, and if you didn't, let me assure you, you leave this court without a stain on your character? Did you collect my laundry?
Yes.
Mr. Worth, are these questions really necessary?
Today, no. Possibly not tomorrow. But eventually I shall be asking, where is my clean shirt?
Objection overruled. Silence!
Mr. Worth! It's obvious that you do not understand legal proceedings. Now, I've given you a lot of freedom trying to find out what all this is about. Why don't you stop asking questions and say what you have to say?
Well, you see, it's very simple, really. I took Sandra to the discotheque because her father doesn't like her going on her own. You see, father and daughter, they just don't get along. They don't understand one another. There has been, if you ask me, a lack of parental understanding. But may I say in mitigation, he's not a bad man. He means well, and the only reason he prosecuted me is because he thought I'd hurt Sandra. I think we should all forget it and go home.
Quite the most intelligent words I've heard in court this morning. Anything to add, Sergeant?
No, sir.
If there's no case to answer, Mr. Worth, you are discharged. Sergeant Bailey, I think you have shown unintelligence, and not only as a father, but as a policeman. I think you should try and have a bigger understanding of the younger generation. And I advise you to mend your ways.
You see, George?
Silence! All rise.
Don't be upset.
Wait till the magistrate's gone.
I said,
Now
don't be
then,
upset,
I'll
George.
tell you what I want you to do.
What do you want?
I want you to go back to my sister's house, put all your things in a little suitcase,
no,
and
no,
get
no,
out.
no,
And never come back. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking to you. And I don't want you taking my...
You are charged with behavior likely to cause a breach of the peace. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.